we had, I just wanted to just touch on freedom of speech here. We had Tommy Robinson on with us. And Stu, can you give a recap of who Tommy is and what the controversy was? You remember?
Barely. I was away when you actually had him on.
Oh, okay.
But
Well,
I
let
do
me do
remember
it.
it,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Okay, I'm sorry. So Tommy Robinson is this guy who is very outspoken on all of the rape of children, the pedophilia.
Hopefully against.
Yeah.
Okay,
he's
good,
outspoken
good.
against, yeah. And he's in England, and he's saying that there's two levels of justice. There's one for all the white people, and then one, or I shouldn't say that, one for all of the English people that were born in England, and then one for the newcomers, the refugees. And by the way, me just saying that way could get me arrested if I were in London or England. So here's the thing. He came out, and they've been blaming him for all of the violence. And he said, "No, you can't blame me for the violence. It's your policies." And he said, "I have done just recently, I did a big rally, and I said, peace is the only way to do this. There can't be violence." When I asked him if he was for violence, he not only reiterated that, but he said, just like your January 6th, violence will be the end of our movement. So we can't have any violence. Violence hurts our movement. So why would I be for it? Well, after that interview, we posted it, and it was up on YouTube. And they immediately said that we couldn't post it because it was inciting violence. No, it wasn't. It was doing the exact opposite of that. However, I don't think this was YouTube's call. I think YouTube got pressure from the European Union and also pressure from England to make sure that didn't get out. So we've been suppressed, and we appealed, and we said to YouTube that it didn't have it. Show us where the violence was. Show us. They didn't call us back. They just put on the video, appeal rejected. We looked at your content again and confirmed that it should stay limited. This may be disappointing. Oh, no, it's not disappointing. It was expected. But it's important that we keep the YouTube community protected. YouTube, thank you for protecting me. That is so important. Meanwhile, you're convincing my kids that they can be, another gender, which is scientifically impossible. But thank you for the protection on this one. So we tried to embed the video in a story that we were sending out. And once we just hit embed. And what happened? This video cannot be played here. Its content has been identified by the YouTube community as inappropriate or offensive to some audiences. So we are now being suppressed. We know that Facebook has suppressed us a great deal in the last couple of years. They are now looking into it, and I'm waiting to see what they find. I'm sure they're honestly looking, especially after what happened yesterday with Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg wrote a pretty astounding letter to Jim Jordan and the chairman of the judiciary, looking into the weaponization of government. He said, this is Zuckerberg's letter, "There's a lot of talk right now around how the U.S. interacts with companies like Meta, and I want to be clear about our position. Our platforms are for everyone. We're about promoting free speech and helping people connect in a safe and secure way. As part of this, we regularly hear from governments all around the world and others with various concerns around public discourse and public safety. In 2021, senior officials from the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire, and expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. Ultimately, it was our decision whether or not to take the content down, and we own our decisions, including COVID-19 related charges we made to the enforcement in the wake of this pressure. I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it. I also think we made some choices that, with the benefit of hindsight and new information, we wouldn't make today. Do you think? Like I said to our teams at the time, I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction, and we're ready to push back if something like this happens again. Okay, good. Okay, all right, good. In a separate situation, the FBI warned us about potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family and Burisma in the lead up to the 2020 election. That fall, when we saw New York Post story reporting on corruption allegations involving the then Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden's family, we sent the story to fact checkers for review and temporarily demoted it while waiting for a reply. It's since been made clear the reporting was not Russian disinformation, and in retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story. We've changed our policies and processes to make sure this doesn't happen again. For instance, we no longer temporarily demote things in the U.S. while waiting for, kneel down and bow down to the fact checkers. Apart from content moderation, I want to address the contributions I made to the last presidential cycle to support electoral infrastructure. The idea here was to make sure local election jurisdictions across the country had the resources they needed to help people vote safely during the global pandemic. I made these contributions through the Zuckerberg initiative. They were designed to be nonpartisan, spread across urban, rural, and suburban communities. Still, despite the analysis I've seen showing otherwise, I know that some people believe this work benefited one party over the other. My goal was to be neutral and not play a role in one way or another, or even appear to play a role. So I don't plan on making a similar contribution this cycle. Respectfully, Mark Zuckerberg. Well, Mark, that's big of you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I would like to ask if I can get, unbanned now. Can you not shadow ban me now? I guess I could sue Facebook because now they're admitting that they are doing this thing. I think there's probably a lot of lawsuits. Or, Stu, does Section 230 cover lawsuits like that when you're actually injured by Facebook?
No, that Section 230 would not protect them in that way. It would protect them against what the Telegram guy is facing in Russia. Or in France, excuse me, the Russian Telegram
not Russia.
Guy. Yeah.
So in France, they just arrested the guy who does something like Signal, where it is an encrypted communication device. And you can just download the app, and you can write to people just like Signal in Telegram, and nobody can read it. Well, because they don't have Section 230, we're now having to live by European standards. This is why YouTube is censoring me now. They're censoring me because we could throw Glenn Beck under the bus, or we could lose all of Europe. Which do we choose? Well, our principal... Shut up. We know we don't want to lose Europe. French prosecutors released information on Monday about the potential criminal charges that the Telegram founder and CEO is now being investigated in connection that he was arrested last week when a private jet was landed in the country from Azerbaijan. So these are the 12 charges that they are investigating that appear to stem from Durov's alleged refusal to moderate illicit content on the platform. So the idea here was, with Section 230, you are either a publisher or you're just a free space platform. You either edit and hold standards, or you don't. And if you don't, you can't be held responsible for anything. But again, Europe doesn't have that. They have publisher status. So if you're doing an app and something's happening, well, you better know about it. Well, if you have an encrypted service, how are you going to know about it unless you're listening in to all of the things that they're doing, which would then negate the reason you would have encryption? So they listed 12 charges. I think they're all complicity, okay? Webmastering an online platform in order to enable illegal transaction in an organized group. Complicity. Now, I would like to know, has any of these guys from the WEF, are they ever going to be charged with complicity on destroying the Western way of life, destroying the Western hemisphere? Because I know they're complicit in it. I know they're talking to each other all the time. I wonder if they're using anything like Signal. Then refusal to communicate at the request of competent authorities. I think you could argue that. Competent authorities, are there any? Information or documents necessary for carrying out and operating interceptions allowed by law. Complicity, possessing pornographic images of minors. Wow. He doesn't have pornography of minors. He's complicit with the people who do because those people were using his app. Can you imagine? Complicity, distributing, offering, or making available pornographic images of minors in an organized group. So they're going to make this guy into a guy who is selling children for pornography or prostitution by making him an accomplice. Complicity, offering or selling, making available without legitimate reason, equipment, tools, programs, or data designed or adapted to get access to and damage the operation of automated data processing systems. Complicity, organized fraud, criminal association with a view to committing a crime or offense punishable by 5 years or more in imprisonment, laundering of the proceeds derived from the organized group's offenses and crimes. I guess that's because they were paying for the app? Providing cryptology services aiming to ensure confidentiality without certified declaration. Providing cryptology tool not solely ensuring authentication or integrity monitoring without prior declaration. I love the cryptology where the government can monitor it. I mean, don't you? Or just anybody, maybe a third party, I love that kind of, I want a private conversation, with my friends, my family, my coworkers, whatever. I want it to be private, that nobody can hack into and take and put it online. Well, yeah, you can have that, but there's got to be a third party that's looking at it. No, I don't think so. Importing a cryptology tool, ensuring authentication or integrity monitoring without prior declaration. That's what they're charging him with. And we need to make a decision as a society. Are we for freedom of speech or are we not? There's always been conspirators that are walking around and having secret meetings, They're always having these secret meetings. Shh, quiet. Now, can we have those electronically? Apparently not. There are no secrets from the state. So are we going to allow people who make this kind of stuff possible? Are we going to allow them to go to jail? Or are we going to allow them to make it available for all the good guys, knowing that some of the bad guys are going to be swept up in it, and then just go after the bad guys? That's the decision. Do you have freedom of speech? This is what this election is truly all about.